Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one I'm going to break down all of the Turtles prize walls, all three of them going on right now. Um, to start off, this is the Cody spend event for the faction. You can see there is a ton of mass available. First place gets 50,000, second 40, third 30, 4 to 10, 25, 11 to 20, 20. So there's a lot of people, 21 to 40, 15,000. That's 4,000 people with at least 15,000 currency. Um, plus all the other stuff. So I think there's a lot of people that are going to end up above 30,000 currency. A lot of people. And even going down to 60th is 10,000, top 100 is 7,500, and 100 to 200 is 5,000. Long story short, this prize wall, Shredder Mask, with all the stuff going on, if you played, did your daily stuff, you're going to have a lot of currency. So I think we'll start off with the Shredder Mask prize wall breakdown and move from there, because I think that one is the one most people are going to have the most stuff for. Let's see. All right, let's go to the prize walls. I'm on the CC account for this one. Oops. It'll keep it easier to see. All right. So the Shredder Mask wall. I think there's levels, right? If you got Roman from the milestones, don't worry about him at gold, I would say. Just like, let's start off there. The same thing with Woods if you already have them. Also, I want to highlight the resources, while great, should only be used with whatever's left over, okay? If you don't have the moment, I think it's an absolute steal at 3,999. You should get it. That would be my first thing to get, right? As for that, these two plates are nice to have. This one combos with a May plate. This one probably really isn't a big deal. And this only combos well with the May plate if you like to gamble. I don't, so I actually kind of hate both of these plates right now. There's no one that I think that I would use them on if I had them, for me. But if you're a gambler with a May plate, then you'll have high value on this one. The Nunchuck plate, whenever you dodge a move or gem, increase all your gem damage by 100% for one turn. For me, I put no value on these. If I have to dodge, I've done something wrong, right? So very situationally useful, and only in the case where you are using someone that dodges and you don't win turn one, right? So for me, this is not a good plate. It's not useful in boss battle. I'm not going to go to turn 2 with anyone if I can help it, unless I'm forced to play with them. So extremely situational plate, so I don't have a lot of value on that one. If you don't have Woods, make sure you get him for sure. Okay? Same thing if you don't have Shredder, make sure you get Shredder, right? If you got Shredder in the milestones, I'm going to assume you have nicer stuff. So if you get to the 30,000 mark, in my opinion, take Ray over the plates, right? Take Ray over the plates, because we don't know how often these are going to come back. He's a very good trainer, very good coach, for power gems, and he's a really good fighter. Even without his plate, you can still do a lot of stuff with him now that he got buffed. The twin side plate is going to be harder to get than the Shades of Rain's plate. So if you're trying to decide between these two, just because this is a branded plate and we didn't see the Ghostbusters again, this one is going to be available much more frequently than this one. So if you have 0 of either of them, I would get the twin side plate over the Shades of Rain's plate, right? I think where it might get really sketchy for a lot of people, if you get enough for Seth at 58,000 and you don't have Seth or Ray, and you're trying to decide between Ray and his plate or Seth, right? I think that's a really hard decision. I don't think there's a wrong answer necessarily. If you don't have either of them, right? If you have Ray, then and you get to 58k, Seth is going to be better than the other stuff you can get. So make sure you get Seth, right? But between these two, long term, most likely Ray will be the better fighter long term. Arguably, he's the better fighter now. In my opinion, he's the best powerhouse with the right stuff in the game for feud, right? Seth is very good now for feud. I believe he's actually the best acrobat now. So there's an argument to be made for either of them. I think Ray's more versatile than Seth outside of feud. However, Seth can dodge and load moves super cheap too, so I don't know. It's tough to say. But long term, I do believe there's going to be more value in Seth as coach than Ray's, especially with the way the game plays currently and the way I like to play. However, if you're a massive enjoyer of power gems, if you're a huge Raph Mark or Ray Mark, and you can get Ray in his plate, I get it, right? I personally would take Seth over Ray in the plate by a smallish margin. Also, if we get another turtle event, you can see the price difference. Ray would be much easier to get the second time around than Seth would be, likely. That's just all guessing, right? So this prize wall, that's kind of how I look at it. Resources only if you absolutely need it. Moment, insane value. You definitely want this, especially like, so if you get Shredder and the moment and you don't have a lot of super nice stuff, he's going to carry your roster like for a long time. A long, long time. Woods is so good now. He's the best trickster on most rosters. You could make a case he's the best trickster on every roster for speed. He's faster than Zombie LA Knight. He hits super hard. Zombie LA Knight's safer, so I will use Zombie LA over Woods personally. But there are situations when I will use Woods over Zombie LA in feud when there's a green gem buff, for example. So Twin Side played over Shades of Rains, and then you know, you have a decision to make between these two. If you don't have Roman, I'm gonna assume your roster looks a certain way, and I would say take Roman over Ray because you probably won't have the stuff to run Ray how he's the best powerhouse in the game if you didn't get Roman from the free milestones. Okay. So that I think covers this wall. These two I don't value very high, but obviously more than resources, but much less than the moment. Um, I all three of these I value not very much, right? So hopefully that helps. If you're someone that wants to play with the dodge and is playing with the dodge with the turtles and then blowing up the board, then the nunchuck plate will help. If you love to gamble with the maze plate, then you'll love this plate. Giant Killer, yeah, it's not really going to make a difference. Super impactful on anyone. You can use it on a bunch of people, but is super impactful? Not really, in my opinion. So that's how I feel about that wall. The Blitz Shredder Claw prize wall, I actually think two things. One, Fearless Leader is the best plate on there for sure. I don't these two are not worth as much as a skill plate or Ray. These you probably won't get to. Cody has been available a lot. I don't think he's going to be very expensive going forward. In this, you're not getting to almost for sure. So this is a moment token. You need 8 of these to unlock the moment. Check and see how many you have. I had 6 on my account. I got this first for 7. Fearless Leader, though, if you don't have crazy stuff, is so good on new Powerhouse Cody. It's really good on Maxine. It's good on a bunch of people. So this is definitely the plate here. This prize wall is pretty straightforward. Get the moment token if you're close-ish and you want this Summer of Champions moment. If you get enough for Fearless Leader, by all means grab it. It's one of the better gem chucker plates in my opinion. And then of course, if you're close to something you really need on the Shredder wall, then you can gamble on these bags. They're going to average about 200 a piece though, so all 5 of them would maybe be 1,000 masks, give or take. It's random, so don't get mad. Mherex said it would be 1,000. I got 720, or Mherex said it was going to be 1,000, and I got 5,000 because you can get lucky, but you're probably going to average 200 a bag ish, 150 to 200 a bag. I've opened a lot of bags, and that's my experience. So that one's super easy. This wall is pretty complex. Depending how your faction does on the spend event is going to determine where you get. For example, almost all of my faction, actually all of my faction, pretty much ended up between 1,000 and 1,600, right? Just pretty much everyone. Bow staff plate, just like the Kofi plate, I put 0 value on it. I don't, if I'm have to dodge a move, I did something wrong. But if you're using somebody that dodge and then has big move damage, go ahead and go for that if you want. Bubba Ray specs are pretty useful. 50% purple damage when you activate a purple move. That's basically 100% on a lot of people. It's really good on Zombie Chelsea's Multiply gem set. It's really good on Julius if you don't have the Tama plate. If you get to 1600, Tama plate makes Julius incredible. So if you don't have one of those, very, very good. Leo plate, this is going to be not really probably what people want to hear. I find this plate personally worthless. You will get people that think this plate is completely overpowered because you can win with really bad characters, right? You can take a super bad character that chucks 9 or more power gems and you can win doing very little damage. That's the key component there, doing very little damage. In Showdown, you get less notoriety if you don't wipe their whole health. In Feud, you get less points if you don't wipe their health. So I have zero interest, personally, in using somebody that's going to do less damage and get me less points. That's the opposite of being efficient. Now, however, if you're somebody that loves the Rock's Finery skill plate, which is the same version of this but botch gems, which I also think is a terrible plate, and a bunch of people think is OP, then by all means go ahead and get this plate. That's a personal preference thing. I find this plate worthless, and there are people that will swear up and down it's OP. To me, this is a tour plate to win tours with really bad characters. It doesn't add damage or anything. That's how I look at it. But if your roster's not there, or you're a mark for somebody with power gems, or you love power gems, then by all means go ahead and get it. But I would take Bubba's or Tama over that in a heartbeat. Limitless. Best plate on the wall by far if you have Great Muda. This turns Great Muda into a damage machine. Neckbreaker's okay, but Limitless is the plate here. Stay away from Mark of a Hero. It's not good. Very few use cases, and it's overpriced at 500. You'd be better off probably getting both of these. But this for Muda. Shards, if you need the shards, you don't need me to tell you, right? I can't assign value to them. That's a need basis. This you're gambling on a strap, so I don't really like it because look at all the options here. So to hit the class you need with the whatever you need, there's move defense. I actually completely hate those. But if it's left over, I mean, I think you'd be better off. These are usually really low star frag counts. Yeah, so that's not going to be good. Striker tokens, maybe. Definitely not the coin. I mean, I guess if it's like filling out what's left, you could take that if you don't need shards of anyone else. But yeah, low priority on those ones. These are completely overpriced. You can get straps, new gen straps on the midweek month-long prize wall. If you don't have them, they're really expensive. I don't like them. If you really need a 100% move strap and you get this much, go ahead, but you're shorting yourself a chance to get a really good plate here. So that's kind of my breakdown on this prize wall. Obviously, if you get 4,000 and you don't have Cody, you're taking Cody. But Cody's very hard to get. So hopefully you guys find these prize wall breakdowns helpful. I have a different way of looking at it. It's just my opinion. It doesn't make me right. Ultimately, what you take, have a reason for it, and make your roster better. And when I say better, what you should do when you're trying to make roster and prize wall choices, does this make my life easier? If you're like, I'm not going to use this on anyone, should I get it? Maybe not, right? Because like I don't know your roster, so I can't give you specific tailored advice. So usually that's how I try and make choices in the game. When I have to make choices is, does this make my life easier? Or what of this stuff makes my life easier? If none of it makes my life easier, then I take what I don't have. That's generally how I go about it. So anyway, guys, hopefully you found this, the 3 prize wall video breakdowns in one useful. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and share because that really helps me out. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Good luck out there. Whew. So many prize walls, so much talking. Glad that's done.